kick it off?
Yeah, I'll say business coach with Company Growth Academy.
Welcome back to the Make It Count podcast.
I'm Marcus Mire, founder of Mire Group CPAs and the Total Control Accounting System.
I'm Tyler Warner, small business owner with a lot of accounting questions.
All right, Tyler. Like last couple weeks or fairly often recently, we got a guest, which we love. Less me and Tyler, more guests. And I've been excited to get this guest on because I think it's something a lot of people listening need, small business owners in particular. And we got Jeff Martin, who's a business coach with Company Growth Academy. Jeff, appreciate you coming on. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you got going on.
Hey guys, it's great to be here, and thank you all for having me. I'm a business coach. I am a serial entrepreneur. Outside of 4 years in the military, I've had no paycheck jobs, so I am all in for entrepreneurship. And Company Growth Academy is basically where I feel like I'm supposed to be, because I've had some good times and I've had some rough times, as most entrepreneurs have.
Right.
And I just believe in teaching the lessons that you've learned, so other people coming up can either shortcut their success or avoid failure.
Yeah. Are you? I would imagine most people who do what you do, and probably like us, you're probably following other coaches, speakers, entrepreneurs. Kind of who are some people that are influencing you in your coaching?
I would say there are several, and you're right. I actually learned, though, and I'll get to that, but I learned from my customers. I learned from my own experience, because everybody has a certain way, and it's just really neat. The thing about it is that businesses are like fingerprints. There are no two alike. Yeah. And so although I do follow things, one of my favorite books of all time, and I read it probably once a year, is E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber. Mm-hmm. Love the book. Donald Miller is I'm certified as a StoryBrand certified marketing guy.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I'm a certified business coach through Business Made Simple. And Gino Wickman, the guy who wrote Traction. Right. I spent about 3 years as an EOS implementer. And so I take away from everybody. Yeah. And I'm just, one of my newest things, which has been around, is Pumpkin Plan, if y'all have ever read it.
Yeah. That's Mike McAllowitz?
Yeah. We had a Profit First episode a couple episodes back. Yeah.
Huge. So I'm dealing with them right now. And, not that I need to go out and get all these certifications, but because I believe that all businesses, even just think of your CPA firm, you're way different than most CPA firms. Yeah. Right? So it has to do with your people, the leadership, the products and services you offer. And so one operating system is not the way it should go. Right. I believe you need a customized operating system based from the best of the best. Just cherry pick what works and make it your own. Yeah. And that's what I'm into.
So is that that's interesting, because I'm hearing kind of two things. I'm hearing, okay, so I've got kind of my team of mentors, in the sense that you've got these certifications through different programs. But then would you say you're using that, you've got to be then doing some due diligence with people you coach to really get to know them, kind of under that same point you made about no two businesses are the same. So I would imagine, and I'll let you answer that, but you're learning about people's DNA, in a sense. Yeah. What makes them tick, how they work, how they lead, and then you're taking what you know from all the different certifications and kind of molding a coaching plan?
That's exactly right. We customize. I have these philosophies, you know what I mean? Yeah. This is going to get old real fast. But I believe in my heart of hearts that when you go in and coach somebody, my passion is with the business owner, right? I want the business owner to win the day. Oftentimes, if I'm truly going to help him or her, I got to help the people under him. I got to help the team members. I got to help the managers. I got to help the leadership team. And I love working one-to-one with business owners. But if I'm truly going to help them, I have to get everybody on the team to see his vision. The trick, though, is if I'm a team member at a company, I see the owner's vision through my perspective. Mm. If I'm a manager, I see it from my perspective. And even if I'm on a leadership team, I still see the vision from my own perspective. So we have to get team alignment. And in order to do that, we have to work with we don't have to, depending on what the needs are. Right. But we really should grow every person. I believe that as we grow, the company grows.
Yeah.
Whether you're the owner or team member or manager.
Well, do you follow any of Craig Groeschel's? Do you follow his podcast? Craig Groeschel's he's a pastor, and he has Life Church I think it's based out of Oklahoma. You know Craig Groeschel? Has the leadership podcast, and his stuff's phenomenal. You'd love it. But he was one of the first to do these virtual churches, so that's kind of was their stamp, and also the guys who are behind the Bible Lab. So Craig Groeschel and his team. But one of the things he always says is, everybody gets better when the leader gets better.
Oh, no,
that's how he says that every time. So as you're saying that, I'm thinking, my own insecurities and thinking through how I am a leader. And I'm like, I tell this to the team all the time, like especially Stephanie, because she hears me. I'll go and kind of confide in her, and I'll say, that's because I didn't do something. That's because I'm not leading well. That's because of an insufficiency in my leadership. It's so true.
It is true, and often it's a training opportunity.
Yeah,
to get us over that hurdle.
Yeah,
yeah. Do you find a correlation? We not to liken accounting or business growth to like a diet, but there's that kind of mentality. Like you usually hit a roadblock, or there's kind of this moment where you're like, all right, I need help. I can't. What kind of patterns do you see, and what kind of mentality you have to like embrace coaching or
huge question. And obviously no one probably realized this, but at my heaviest point, I was 340 pounds. I'm 240 right now, and so through discipline and habits, probably habits first.
Yeah.
What I say, I just started walking, right? I started doing the only thing that I actually could when I was that big. And I created these micro habits. They led into bigger habits. And those habits turned into disciplines. And disciplines turned into expertise and results. It's you asked that question. It's the exact same thing in business. We just often have bad habits. And more often than that, we're not disciplined.
Man, it's funny you're saying that. And as I'm hearing you, I'm going, I know he's read Atomic Habits. You read Atomic Habits?
I have.
Okay. Because I'm hearing it because it's so true. And I hate to I keep thinking about, like, it's almost like I'm in a sermon. You hearing that? And well, sometimes a sermon, people are nudging the person. They go, usually you're listening to this. But I'm going, this is for me, because I'm like, that is me. Yeah. When I think about where I struggle as a leader and as a business owner, it's God, why am I breaking the chain of things that have been working?
Yeah, every time we have a guest that's like any kind of business coach, consultant, we're always like, God dang it.
I know, we're like,
we know what we need to do, right?
But he's going to make us feel better at the end.
It's going to work.
I hope so, yeah. The third point of the sermon, you just...
you got to convict them first. So you got to need the service.
Yeah, dig us in a hole.
Yeah, because I always think of that. I'm like, oh, God, he started talking habits. I almost put my head down. I was like...
Well, it's true, because you mentioned, even when you were talking about like vision... Or communicate, like you got to make sure that everybody understands it through their own lens, right? So you have to make sure that that's communicated. Like that's the fun place to start. I mean, it's got to be difficult to go to a leader and be like, actually, it's just this thing you're doing every day. You need to change this habit. And then eventually, I loved how you said discipline will turn into expertise.
Yeah.
And that's good.
One of the things I was looking kind of through your videos where you're talking about clarity.
Yeah.
I'd like you to speak on that a little bit, because I think about that a lot. And I think about how businesses, it's very clear when you look at a business and you see people going in different directions. But is that one of the things you're addressing a lot?
It's really the first thing we get to. It's clarity. When I work with a business owner, I'll do what's called a growth accelerator session. And we'll sit down for 90 minutes and we'll talk about, the first thing we talk about is what's your exit strategy. And you can't believe how many people don't have one. And, there's really only four things. You're either going to sell the business, you're going to hire somebody to run it, you're going to pass it down, or you're going to close the doors and walk away.
Yeah.
And y'all, so many people today, there's a pizza joint that just walked away the other day.
Yeah.
Here in town.
Yeah, I saw that.
And it's, to me, that is the saddest, worst thing possible from a business owner or an entrepreneur. And so we start with the exit strategy. And then we start working with team alignment. That's when we understand the vision and our mission and what we're here to do, what we're built for. We've got to make sure that everybody's aligned, and then we go on from there.
are you spending a lot of time? Seems like you're going to say yes to this, but when you're doing that exercise, are you really honing down with lots of questions to narrow that vision?
Yeah.
I mean, I would imagine you're probably asking some real penetrating questions, like, well, tell me more about that.
Yeah, it's work, and there's some tears, and there's some some revelations.
Yeah.
Any business, you're aware of the book. I wrote a book called Business Mulligan.
Yeah.
Just think about when you go out to play golf, right? You have an idea of where you want the ball to go. And then you get up there and you swing it, it goes off course.
Yeah.
Right? That's the exact same thing that happens in our businesses.
Yeah.
We have this vision, we have an idea, and it may not even go far off course, but the next one doesn't go on course. And so we get out of line extremely quickly in business. But because we're so deep in the business and we're working to save the day and just keep the lights on for tomorrow so we can come in and do it all over again.
And we're always one thing away from a breakthrough.
Yeah, of
course.
course.
Exactly.
Because I would imagine most business people are fairly they have an open, like their glass half full.
Very optimistic.
Optimistic type
or
people.
they wouldn't even start.
Yeah, right. That's right. They had some belief to get them off the couch or get them to leave that job they're in.
But when it goes too far off course and it's just not your vision anymore, it feels like I got robbed and I'm doing something I don't want to do.
Gotcha.
So it's there's this love-hate relationship with your business.
Man, I'm very curious because I know one of the things that I see a lot of people doing, and myself included. Again, I feel like I should be laying down on the couch. Jeff, just diagnose me here. Yeah. Shiny new objects.
Oh, it's rough.
Do you? I know because I'm a big software guy. I love technology and apps. I mean, if there's not a day goes by that there's not another one, I'm like, ooh, that could do it.
I know.
What would you say to that person who's chasing that sort of stuff? And because I know for me that gets me off the alignment.
Yeah. So in the book, it's about focus, adjust, replay, and that's how you hit a golf ball, right? Your next shot, you're going to have to focus, make the adjustments, and then replay the shot, right? Really, if we're clear about where we want to go, it's now about execution. And if we can't focus on getting what we want, we either want it or we don't. It's just like me losing 100 pounds. I either want to lose it or I don't. That's the tough reality.
Yeah.
Because we can play all these mental games and we can do all that, but divided attention is one of the worst evils out there in companies today. We do it in our people. Let's say, Tyler, you're the best guy at doing this, so we ask you to do it, and then two other people, they can't do another thing, so you're our best guy, so we ask you to do that too.
Yeah.
Right? So we put too much on our best people. We divide their attention. As business owners, we're focused on the future. We're most of us are visionaries, and we're looking toward the future. So once we get to one success, we're off to another success. We have to do that. That's what feeds us. And so I would just say, we have to focus on the things that we want to do, we said we wanted to do, and we have to execute extremely well, understanding that we're going to have to keep adjusting and replaying.
Yeah. I would imagine you're probably always, as somebody who's their advisor, bringing them back center, huh?
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
accountability is huge because most companies, they lack focus.
Yeah.
They lack accountability, and it's tough to lead people today. Because we've changed the world's changed so much.
What can you tell me and Marcus who are special cases? And,
right.
Everybody.
You don't struggle with any of this?
Yeah, we're special cases in the sense that we can juggle multiple things at once.
Gosh.
How do you convince us?
Well, I would say you're mistaken.
You're full of fill in the blanks?
Most of us can do things well. Right?
Uh-huh.
But what's so depressing is when you feel like you get in this rut and you feel like, I'm doing so much that I'm doing nothing well.
Yeah.
And I'm used to doing things very, very well at a high level. And so I would say focus on the things that you can do well, that you're very, very good at, and that you like doing it, right?
Yeah.
Delegate to elevate, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Delegate the things that you can't do, or there's that book, Who Not How.
Yeah.
I mean, find the people that can do it.
Yeah. I love what Dave Ramsey says. He has this equation. It's called focused intensity over time multiplied by God.
Yeah,
is his, and it's so true. Like the focus to stay on a path is always generally, especially if the path that you start out with, if you had a coach to clarify the path.
Correct.
If that was the path to success, generally speaking, focusing on that and staying within those parameters is going to be, you're going to have excellence or succeed. But, oh, God, it's so hard. Like, I'm thinking what you said, divided attention.
Yeah.
Like, I keep thinking about myself. I mean, like, it's
we
very
all,
difficult.
we all do it,
Yeah.
but to different degrees.
Yeah.
What's the common denominator in executing well with all that, though? Discipline. It
Yeah.
really is, and
Yeah.
accountability.
Yeah.
So it's hard.
So let me ask you, I'm curious, I want to hear some more stories. You got any, can you give us, I mean, obviously, no, we're not going to name names here, but some really success stories of people that maybe, is there anybody that you said, I mean, I know I'm going to take you on as a client, but oof, I got my doubts. Is anybody have you done like that and then you were amazed at what happened? Kind of one that comes to mind?
I have gotten so much better at taking clients that I know I can help and I know they'll listen to. I think they will.
Right.
But in the early days, I took on people. I would say I took on people that were broken already.
Yeah.
But you asked for success stories.
Yeah.
So I have.
Did you put anybody back together?
The coolest thing of all, and I've said this on another podcast, but nobody's going to listen to that one. The coolest story that I have is I was at Albertsons one day, and I ran into a client and his wife. And when he introduced me, as this is my business coach, and the guy stepped off a little bit, and she says, "Jeff, I want to tell you thank you." And I was like, "Thank you for what?" "Thank you for getting my husband back." I mean, you've got to be kidding me. I was floored.
Yeah.
But that's why I do it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the reason I do what I do. This individual has gone on to sell his company. And he did, as far as EBITDA, which you'll appreciate, he did very, very well on the multiplier. I was shocked in his industry that got the same multiplier. I worked for them for about 2 years. And again, what's the exit strategy when we first start? The plan was I want to move away from the day-to-day, and then I want to get into a position where I can sell the company. And that's what we did.
Yeah.
And that's what I do. I mean, you may not have plans to sell your company for 10, 15 years, and that's fine. But at least get yourself into a position where you're out of the day-to-day and your company's paying you back a return on investment in time and in money and in peace.
Yeah.
That's why we do this crazy stuff.
Yeah.
What's take us from like consulting to coaching? Because I think we all know like nothing we're hearing right now is like something we don't have to be convinced that we want. Obviously, we all want all those things, but why do you coach versus just giving people aha moments?
Yeah, really good question. I think there are three phases or three categories of somebody like me. You have a coach who is in there with you and working with you to reach a goal to make you better, right? To make you a better business owner or to make your team better. Then you have a consultant, and those are the guys that they give you the plan and they hand it over to you and they say, look, if you do this, then you will win. You may even have to hire a coach after you get their consultation, right?
Yeah.
Then you have the advisors who really, they sit back, they tell you what the best strategy is, and then they're out of there. Craziest thing is the advisors get paid more, the consultants get paid in the middle, and the coaches get paid less. But I'm built to coach because I want to see the owner and their teams win so badly. I am part consultant, part advisor, depending on the situation and needs of the owner. But I will tell you that and sometimes as owners, we all have to bounce ideas off of people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And to have a trusted advisor that that will help you make decisions, because we make so many decisions daily.
Yeah.
And they get more critical and more important. And sometimes we can't talk to our team about it. You know? But so you have to be when you're a coach, you have to be a little bit of everything. When you're an advisor, you strictly advise, and I'm out of there.
Yeah.
Consulting.
And you hope they don't take your advice, honestly, because then you're like, I'm not liable. You know?
Yeah, well,
You have no idea how awesome my plan was.
Right.
If
Exactly.
only you would have tried it.
Yeah,
Right,
you
right.
should have done it exactly like I said. You should have hired a coach to get you
Yeah,
through it.
yeah.
That's what I'm built for.
Yeah.
You know?
I just think of that too, because that's, you know, I think we started the podcast. It was books we've all read and things like that, and you realize, man, it's just another reminder. Okay, well, I know where point A and point B were, but how did I not get there? And I think there's some value in just we don't instinctively know. We instinctively know as business owners or leaders to read books, to digest new information and
Yep.
things like that. But coaching is just not instinctual for some reason.
Yeah, because it requires discipline and accountability.
Yeah, I was going
And,
to say
and
that.
we can hold others accountable, but it's tough to hold ourselves accountable. You know.
Yeah, I was going. I mean, that's the essence of it. It's as you're saying that again. God, I keep. I've almost got to pay up something here. I feel like I'm getting a free session here, but man, that is like getting coached because of the accountability thing. You either want, like you said, I'm listening. You said you either want that or you don't. Like if you really say, like if I tell you, Jeff, I want to go here.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to hold you to going there, and these are the steps we're going to take to get there. How are you? That I would imagine that's an ongoing thing. Is that structured? Is that, hey, I've got a weekly check-in or a month? Like how does that work?
It's very, very structured.
Okay.
I tend to work with companies on my private clients.
Yep.
I do some group coaching stuff, but on my private clients, I'll work with a customer once a week for a couple hours a week, and we just keep going every week. Now, I may work with you, the owner, one week. I may work with you every week for months.
Yeah.
I may work with your leadership team. I might work with your sales department. You know, so I like to get in the trenches and work with them. Again, though, as we grow, the company grows.
Yeah.
And so every person on that team needs to grow as an individual and as a team member.
Have you ever had, similar to the client you saw at Albertsons where the wife came up to you and said, you know, you've really changed our lives. Have you ever had employees come in a situation where the environment has gotten so much better because the leader has gotten so much better? Have you ever had them come and thank you?
What's neat, I'm working with a client right now, and I'm on about the 4th month. And like I said, we start off with team alignment. And so we do a lot of things to bring the team together, make sure we get clarity, communication skills going up, and changing the environment wherever it needs to be. It's amazing to me how quickly things can start to turn around. Now, they're not completed. It take your people side of the house never is over. You got to continually do it, but you can turn around things very quickly when you start just doing a few structured things.
Yeah.
And so I love that. And so I'm thinking about this one company that I've been there for 4 or 5 months. One of the managers sees her path now. She sees where she can go in this company, where before she thought she'd reached her limits. And when you start showing people that, you know, you have a path to growth, you can grow here and you can take on more responsibility and ultimately earn more, but there's a path. It changes their worlds.
Yeah.
Because they can stop looking for other jobs. They can stop being dissatisfied where they are. They can start to appreciate what they have and what they can do, and they're in control.
Yeah.
And so their whole demeanor, their whole outlook, everything changes. And I love seeing that. And I'm seeing with that company, I'm seeing it a lot. I see it with every company.
Yeah.
All right, so I got another question for you. If you were to walk into any business just blindfolded, what would you guess? Like, where would you start? And what I'm getting at is like, where are you seeing the same thing over and over again in small businesses, and you could just like put money on it? If I say this, you'll get help.
People problems. Today, it's people problems. One, because the cell phones are changing us. They're changing the world, right? Politics, unfortunately, is changing the world. People are more divided than we've ever been. And, you know, if you look up the true data, 66% of employees in the United States of America, they're disengaged. They're actually thinking about something else rather than what they have to do. So it's around that people problem. And that's why I typically start with team alignment. then move into process optimization, and then value drivers, finding the owner's value drivers. The answer to the question is people. And in people, it includes leadership, management, and all the team. And so we got to get that squared away most of the time.
Do you find that a compelling work, a fulfilling work can override that? I mean, like what I'm hearing is people are disengaged, but your job, I would imagine, is to come in and say, we want to make this compelling enough for you to flourish, for you to see some opportunity. Is that one of the things that can overcome disengagement and apathy?
Yeah, we got to tell a better story, right? And we have to attract the right people. How do we tell a better story to attract better people? Is one, we have to really get our culture down. And I used to think culture and all this stuff was hocus pocus. It is so wildly important. And so I go about it a little bit differently. I create your mission. Mm-hmm. I'm a military guy, and a mission is different than core values. It's different than everything else. This is what we have to get done. In the next 12 months, we will do A, B, and C because is the thing that will attract people. It may be altruistic, it may be something. We have to look at our key characteristics. What type of people are we looking for? The characteristics that's going to make a great team player. And then we have to look at our critical actions. So your critical actions are things that we do every single day, regardless of the day. Take Chick-fil-A. What do they say when you say thank you?
Yeah.
It's my pleasure.
Yeah.
That's one of their critical actions. A key characteristic for Chick-fil-A is fun under pressure. You may be sitting there and you're busy like crazy. I'm an assistant manager and I see a church bus pull up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got to somehow get the cashiers excited, and you got to get the kitchen excited about what's about to happen. I got about 40 kids that are about to come in here, and it's going to be crazy. Fun under pressure is a key characteristic that they look for.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that we need to do from the start.
Yeah, critical actions and key characteristics. You just described like very little things. And
Correct.
Is that the idea that they're like these little
micro habits
Yeah.
to create habits and disciplines to get that expertise and conviction, really?
Well, it's funny. I think I kind of piggyback off that. There's a pretty famous clip of Simon Sinek.
Yeah.
And the guy's asking him, they're talking about trust in an organization. And basically the gist of it is Simon Sinek says, you develop trust is that there's not a moment you say, hey, Jeff, I trust you.
Yep.
It's the accumulation, again, back to the small things, of little things over time. He says, it's not like maybe your wife one day says, I love you, but she realizes in retrospect, it's all the things you're doing. You put her coffee cup out in the morning, and you do this and that. You go get her favorite candy on the way home from work because you were thinking about her. It's all those little things that it makes an employee say, it's great working here.
Yeah,
I trust these guys.
That's right.
It's not like just because one day you did the right thing.
That's
is
right.
that kind of what you're getting at?
We have to prove to our team members that we want them to win here, right?
Yeah.
Most people, they just go to a job and they don't feel like the ownership, the leadership really cares. We want our people to win and have victory in the end. And so if I feel like I'm contributing and contributing toward the vision, and they want me to win here, then I'm staying here.
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna look around.
Yeah, that's interesting. You mentioned delegate, elevate, and I've been trying to do this too. Like, I've realized in terms of like building trust with people, there's this, like, we tend to want to like be team players and want to be like, oh, okay, I can take that on. Let me do that. I'll help you out. But what I'm learning is that every time I do that and I do it poorly, or I do it halfway because it was an add-on thing that I'm trying to help, I'm actually losing trust. It's almost better for me to be like, no, I'm not going to do that. And it might surprise people, But if it means that what I say I'm going to do, I actually do well, and I can do that consistently,
Expertise.
then people will be like, no, I trust that this is going to be handled because he
that's
said
right.
it would.
And the
now
worst
they're
thing-
not thinking, well, it could go 50-50. He
Yeah,
says he's
and
going
the
to
last thing we want to do is step on your toes and say, nah, I got this. You know, a lot of family-owned businesses where it's one for all and all for one. It's beautiful, but it really, you step on my toes when you come in and take over what I was doing.
Yeah.
And so we have to draw those lines, set clear expectations, hold people accountable. It's not hard.
It's not. It's easy, but it's hard.
Yeah, it's exactly.
I mean, I've heard.
right.
I think that's what people have said, but it's all these things are not rocket science.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, not to diminish anything you're doing because it's you, but you just need to
No.
be reminded and held accountable. You need somebody along you, again, a coach, to say, "I'm for you."
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
You're not really playing that well. You're not running the plays we
And
said.
You said you wanted to go.
Yeah,
there,
you said you
know?
wanted to win the Super Bowl, and you snake.
Yeah. I'll help you do it.
Yeah. Well, this has been
Yeah,
great.
this is
I
awesome.
mean, how can people get in touch with you? And you mentioned earlier off air that you had something to
Yeah.
share with us.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah,
because
go for
this is so critical, and it goes to the heart of clarity. One, you can reach me at companygrowthacademy.com. On there, you'll likely see that I'm putting together a cohort. It's a 30-day cohort, and it's called the Brand Messaging Guide Cohort. And as a certified story brand marketing guide, I'm the only one in Lafayette, by the way. It's getting your message clear helps not only your customer, but it helps your team. And you can't get your marketing going at 100% unless your message is clear. There's a big difference between messaging and marketing.
Yeah.
And so it's a cohort that I'm putting together. I only have 6 companies, but this is different than any other cohort. I'll let you bring 2 representatives from each company. So it'll be a group of 12 people, keep it small, and we meet every Tuesday and Thursday for 4 weeks. The first one's kind of welcome kind of thing, and the last one, once we have the brand messaging guide built, it will be kind of graduate, celebrate, present, or not presentate.
Right.
Yeah.
But
So that's
graduation, celebration, presentation.
That's sort of the deliverable as you walk out of there with a brand messaging guide.
You'll have your 7-part framework, your toolbox that you can whether it's a social media post, your website, a letter you have to send out, email sequence. You will have a toolbox you can just go in and have your messaging, and it's always there. You'll end up with an explanatory paragraph that you can throw on your website for their due diligence folks that actually read websites.
Yeah.
We'll create a paragraph, a video script. It will give you a great script for a great explainer video to put on your homepage. You can use that for social media, and you'll also leave with, which I think is the holy grail, the one-liner. Your one-liner is a descriptive, simple, repeatable message that sums everything you do up into one statement. And from there, we'll create an elevator pitch. So anybody in your company will have an elevator pitch that's built from the Story Brand 7-part framework.
Yeah.
It's a very good thing, and I have about 3 spots left. So.
Awesome. All right.
It's,
Well,
I do
you're
one
here.
every winter, spring, summer, and fall. So this is the fall one.
Gotcha.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, good deal. And you told us how they can reach out to you, how they can find out.
CompanyGrowthAcademy.com.
That's the best way.
You'll find the brand messaging guide, but you can also go to brandmessagingguide.com.
Gotcha.
2 calls to action.
Easy
That's against the rules.
Well, good deal. And as always, check out Mire.group. You can find this episode and all the other episodes there as well, and get in touch with Marcus and his team. Thanks again.
Yes, this
been
is great. Thanks,
for
Jeff.
having me. I enjoyed it.
Yep.
This is good.
Stay fini.
This is a good podcast.
Thank you.
Isn't it amazing how quickly 30 minutes or